talk to me. Yo, tell it in the booth when troops attack tribes. Bullets let loose, snatch the lives of the poor. Try to imagine, I chose this rapping to awaken the hood and the grass worn and blazed by the children. Where women pour waterfalls, innocents die black in the law. For justice we march back and forth. Get ignored, angry, deported and caught. Pressed on the floor, it's a liberty being birthed in war. We're the sponge generation, soaking up songs of amazing grace. Stolen from the cotton fields, making slaves. Now I'm filled with a rage that's controlled on the page, aired out on the stage. My poetry's far-fetched from a phase. My purpose, get heard and inspired back to faith. Skirts no bigger than bells and high folk. Men that were raised by hell and harsh road. Come on. It's over to you, it's over to you. It's over to you,
Sweet
it's
mother.
over to you.
Oh,
Come on,
sweet mother, yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. Sweet mother,
come on, yeah.
never go forget you. You're the suffer, you suffer from me.
For my African queen,
Come on.
girl of my dreams, you take me where I've never been. You make my heart go ting-a-ling-a-ling. Oh, you are my African queen. Hey,
I was born in the
girl of
UK
my
and went to
dreams, you
live back
is
home in
where
Sierra
I've never
Leone
been.
when I was
And
about
that's
2 years
the
old.
African beauty.
And in terms of my journey, let's just say when I was young, I was playful. All I wanted to do was play, running around. And my uncle, he had different views. He wanted me to study. And as a result, I would a lot of the times be kept in to have to study, and I would do what's known as rote memorization. And the funny thing is, when I was back home, I hated it because I could hear children outside playing and I had to be inside studying. Funny thing is, when I came to the UK, back into the UK when I was about 8 years old, whenever we got asked to do plays, I would memorize plays really quickly. So initially what was deemed as punishment ended up becoming a blessing. And that's how I got into, say, drama. Later on now, it would transpire into hip hop. And how that came about was I used to go to my cousin's house and they had what was known as the box. And on the box you could hear or watch MTV raps. And that's when I got introduced to KRS-One, NWA, Tupac Shakur, and it was just like, whoo! I found my niche. And I told a story about, we used to go to this store called Our Price. And Our Price was where you could buy CDs and things like that. And what we would do is we would stand outside with the exact amount of change, and the CDs we wanted, the NWA CD, etc., they would have parental advisory. So we would ask a complete stranger who was going into the shop, yo, could you go in and buy, the latest NWA for us? And we would stand there like hoping that they wouldn't go and, get us in trouble. But yeah, a lot of the times it worked. And they would go in, buy the CD for us and come out and give it to us. Some people said no, but it was pretty cool. And that was my introduction into hip hop.
I started music actually in Africa because I was born here and I was taken back to Nigeria. I started music through school and church, and when I came back to UK, I auditioned for a boy band project with Peter Waterman, who gave the world Kylie Minogue and Rick Astley, and I did that and I started from that really.
Well, I think being born of an African family, you kind of just are thrown into it. Even before you really know African music and Western music, you don't really know the difference until you get much older. So I really started getting involved in it when I was like a couple months ago, really. I work for a company called Afrobeat Niger, and they are kind of new on the scene, but they've done amazing work in terms of bringing awareness to some upcoming artists and artists that are currently on the scene right now.
My music journey started from quite a very early age. I grew up in the north, and I grew up in a Yoruba family that speaks English, and I was that little boy who would always go play drums. I went through a stage where I got whipped every Sunday, and I think that's probably the story of most drummers, and the reason why I would get whipped is because after service I'm always the child that they look for before everyone goes home, and it progressed to playing drums with plates at home, breaking buckets, and all of this stuff. And grew up, went to secondary school, and then came over here. But I took drumming a lot more serious when I got to the UK for the fact that I had more opportunity over here, and I was encouraged to do it a lot more as opposed to doing it back home. And the reason why I didn't really have the opportunity back home was not necessarily because my parents didn't want me to, but they just felt that I could probably get lost in the wrong crowd. So the benefit of hindsight, I think what they did was good, but I think if I had started out a bit earlier, or if I was opportuned as I was when I got to the UK, I probably would have gone a bit further. But having said that, I'm quite grateful for where I am today.
I was born in Nigeria. I started in the church, so playing music in the choir. I was a choir boy, playing the drums and so on. Seriously, I started, I picked up the drums at the age of 7. That's when I took up the, under different mentorship of different drummers. So from then on, it's been, one study to the other. I came to London just shortly after 12-year-old age, and then I went to Guildhall School of Music and Drama, where I studied jazz, and then I got a scholarship after that to university, where I did jazz music and film music. So from then on, it's been a big journey.
That's right. It's all about sharing love. This is about not just the mother in the physical form, but Mother Africa. Yeah. So this is for all the mothers across the world. Woo! Let's go.
Sweet mother, never forget you. For this suffering, suffer me. Sweet mother, never forget you. For this suffering, suffer for me. Sweet mother, sweet mother.
In terms of bridging the gap between hip-hop and my African heritage, it's funny because when I was young, when you'd be walking down the road, you would have people like maybe say a racist slur to you. And so you didn't feel that you fitted in. Like, although I was born here, I didn't quite feel that I fitted into the society, into the community, because of certain things that would happen. And hip-hop was a voice. Hip-hop was stand up and be brave. Hip-hop was be you, be unique, be rhythmical, be just have that opinion that you wanna get out. And so when I got into secondary school, my feelings, what I wanted to express, there was nowhere to push it out. And so listening to hip-hop, I would sit there literally memorizing, learning songs. And I would remember back then there was no iPod, it was cassettes. So it's like press, play, rewind, play, rewind, play, rewind. And just, there was no Rap Genius back then. You had to learn your own lyrics. And that's what I kept on doing over time. And then when I eventually went to university, so by this time I'd started doing music when I was like 15. When I went to university, in my last year, my lecturer said to me, why don't you do a storytelling module? And I was like, why would I want to do that? And she's like, because you perform, I think it would be good for you in terms of expressions. Went to do the storytelling module, and I mentioned, we got asked to do a performance on any story we wanted, and I chose a character known as Anansi. Anansi is a character from Ghana. He's known as the Spider-Man, Kwaku Anansi. He's a trickster, and I said I was gonna do this performance about Anansi. Nobody had heard of Anansi. So for me, I grew up on this, having storytellers who are known as the griots, having them come and share storytelling with us when it was nighttime, when we used to gather around the campfire. And so for me, it was like, What do you mean you haven't heard of Anansi? But if you ask about Donald Duck, Mickey Mouse, everybody had heard of that. And so I felt that culturally, storytelling, the cultural storytelling that I grew up on was slowly disappearing. And often they say, if you see a problem in the world and it bothers you, it often means that you're part of the solution, or you can play a part in the solution. And so then that's where I would say more the rebirth of the cultural side took place, where it was a case of, wow, this ancient art form, this oral tradition that I grew up on, I'd forgotten about. See, I was more now with the modern hip hop, but then realizing that actually I need to go back. And hip hop is something that it speaks about the struggle in society, it speaks about the struggle in community, or the hip hop I used to listen to anyway. And it also said serve humanity. So then it wasn't just about now preaching the music or doing storytelling. It also became a case of, what are you doing to shift your community into growth? What are you doing to shift your community or the people in your community into empowerment? What are you doing to also give them something positive? And that's how my journey into using hip hop as a way to be able to have a voice, to then travel back home, start a charity. And I was like, now I feel like a hip hop artist and not just a rapper. Because as a hip hop artist, not only am I getting to deliver my music, but I'm also getting to travel, inspire people. Watch this now. This is what the griots used to do. The griots would travel from village to village, sharing words, wisdom, music. The rappers of today go on tour. So the format is still the same. Is it the format? Would I say the format? I'd say the idea is still the same, but the format is slightly different. In that we went from djembe drums to live drums. We went from the xylophone and the balafon to pianos, to keys, and seeing that transition and very much seeing like, whoa, actually, if you look deep enough and you see what you're looking at, culture and tradition is very much still alive. It's just been modernized. Is that the word? Is that the right word? Yeah, it's been transitioned from percussion to electronic.
Well, for me, I think I'm at the stage where I'm trying to blend both cultures as an African person and as an Afro-Brit, actually. I'd like to fuse them. I probably shunned away from the idea before, but I think it's actually cool to be able to think from different cultures and speak different languages and be able to sing in different languages, so I like that now.
The reception is amazing. I think with the UK being so diverse, you have people from different cultures and everyone seems to be able to relate to Afrobeats. I've seen a German person get down to some Afrobeats. I've seen the oldest to the youngest. It's something that they can come together, and the vibe is infectious, the sound is infectious. People just want to dance. It's infectious. You can't sit still to Afrobeats. That's what I've experienced, and I think it's amazing to see all these different like cultures and people come together because of one sound.
Well, simply I could say soul, jazz, R&B. Wow. No, I don't know. I pretty much take bits and pieces of everything from gospel, anything that inspires people. I would probably put that into music somehow. But it would probably, if you want to put it in a box, I would say soul, R&B, jazz, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it sounds like a fusion of
different
genres.
Yeah. It's not really just one thing, because I like listening to classical, I like gospel, I like Arabic. Listen to different things.
The market is expanded so much. You see people like Davido and Wizkid are selling out shows within hours in the UK, and they recently did that. and the demand for them is so high. When you ask people, oh, you know, should they come more often? Yes, but they'll be in London like every 2 or 3 months, and the demand for them is really high. I think not just in the UK but all over, because the music is, again, something that people can relate to. WizKid's or Legba that came out, it was something that people that, I'm not Yoruba Mibo, but I relate to the song. It's about struggle, it's about making it out of a hard situation, and I think once you get to that core message, everyone can relate to that in some way or another.
I would say a lot, because I do like a lot of Western artists from, you know, I grew up listening to people like Helen Baylor, Whitney Houston, Aretha Franklin, Sam Cooke, Dusty Springfield, even Rick Astley, because, you know, I'd worked with that machine. I think music in the West, for me personally, is something that just, I take the positive aspects, not everything I hear within the Western music. Within Western music, I don't think everything in it, I mean, I don't like heavy metal, for instance. It's not my thing, but I may be able to assimilate it somehow and take what I think is positive in it and try and regurgitate that within what I do. But I just try to take what's positive in anything I hear, whether it's Western or African.
I think this year has done amazing things for Afrobeats as a genre, because you're starting to see it being integrated more and more into mainstream culture, mainstream music. Even your West End clubs are playing WizKid songs, and the Americans are now jumping on remixes of Afrobeat songs, and it's just really interesting to see. It all kicked off with the band, I believe, when he released Oliver Twist, and Kanye West kind of gave it, you know, the notoriety it needed, and it went viral. It was everywhere, to a point where everyone was like, okay, no more Oliver Twist. But it did that amazing favor for Afrobeats in the terms that it opened up doors, and it gave companies like Afrobeat Niger the platform to say, hey, like, we can help you out, we can help you reach the audience that you need here in the UK.
But yeah, going to, what would you like me to play? A rhythm or a note or?
Your name is Shukwa, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just tell us. Use the talking drum to tell us your name.
Okay. And that's just saying Orúkọ mi ni Ọlásùpọ̀ Akínọlá.
The challenge is, it's as number one, as a trained jazz musician who is an African. Jazz music is not well accepted or received in African community, because it's not really the tradition. It's not really our tradition. People listen to juju music, Fuji music, and Apala and so on. So when you bring jazz music into our community, it's like, oh, okay, this Oyinbo music. But thankfully, you have people appreciate, you know, jazz in our community. So in British community, or where we live here in England, the challenge is you don't find a lot of African musicians or African, you know, listeners, audience who come to jazz show or to come and listen to a jazz show, maybe at the O2 and so on. But you still have a few people coming out that love the genre of music. But the challenge is you don't find a lot of African people who, you know, love jazz. But I think over, you know, maybe in a few years it will change. Or greet us in Yoruba.
However, I do all that together. Like, Bani mbu mole bugi kowawe, Bani mbu mole bugi kowawe, Mole bawan bu were kowa gbolo, Koni were komu were so, Bani mbu mole bugi kowawe.
Carry it. That's good. And what does that mean? Can you interpret that?
Actually, it means that if I was actually told to tell off a tree, I could do it so well that that tree will shed its leaves.
That's deep.
I said I'll try to do all together.
Yeah, definitely. I've heard that phrase a lot. That jazz music is for the matured mind. It lets you think. You know, it gives you that room to, you know, visualize things, to use your imagination. Yes, definitely it is true, and as well as it is a folk music. And as you know, jazz music started in New Orleans, during the slavery years, where our forefathers, our ancestors were taken to America, and they will come together in Congo Square and play on Sunday evening, telling stories and using the hand drum. So it's an African tradition, it's an African, but again, it's been transported to, America. So that way, like I said, hopefully, it will be well, received in a few years and well accepted in the community.
How it works is that we have artists that will submit their videos, their music videos to us, or their songs to us, the links and stuff. We will review it, and then we post it through our social media platforms. We give it the push that it needs. Being that we are based in the UK, but we do have strong roots based back home in Nigeria, it works both ways for them. So we kind of equip them with the audience that they need. They just need to give us the content, and then we push it. We are at many events across the UK for the African community, so it's the buzz of Afrobeat Niger automatically goes towards the people that plug their music through us.
Wow, that's really good. And you did mention that you're from the eastern part of Nigeria originally. And can you say something in Igbo to us to sign up?
I didn't prepare for that. Okay. Well, I was born and raised in the UK, but funny enough, I still have a bit of it. Okay, let me see. Kedu, that means hello. And then you would say Odima, that means how are you? I'm fine.
So how do you break the shackles of genres, being put in a box, African music, jazz, and so on? Like, where do we take this to?
Just make music for love. Everybody wants to be loved. So I think for me personally, when I make music, that's my message. My message is love. I think love is the highest, love is the greatest, and there's nothing above love. So if you master that, you've got everything else that is missing.
Said.
Hello.
That was really
I'm an inspirational artist.
I think music's always going to be in genres.
Yeah.
That's what I personally feel. But we also have to be careful, because it's like somebody coming over from back home and wanting to shorten their name, so it might be Adibanjo and they're like, ads, that's my name, you know what I mean? So that it can fit in, where it's like, actually, no, let people recognize the music and come to the music. Yeah. If your name is difficult to pronounce, let them learn to pronounce your name.
Yeah.
I think for artists, it's really important that they learn to find a niche and market that niche to like the 10th power. So exactly as my lovely brother here said, if your name is hard to pronounce, make them learn how to pronounce it. If you're Igbo rapper and all you know how to do is rap in Igbo, let them learn how to rap with you, even though they have no idea what you're saying. And I think, I don't speak Yoruba, but because of Afrobeats, I will learn what they're saying, because I want to be, cool. I want to be keeping up with the Joneses. And I think it's really important that every artist has their kind of own unique thing about them, because nobody wants a photocopy of the same thing.
Actually, when I do interviews and I meet journalists who cannot pronounce my name, I try to give them a mini music lesson. So I put, music notes on my name. So I give them the notes. So once they remember the notes, then they can pronounce my name.
Yeah, Alim's got something like a mnemonics that what you use, isn't it?
So like for me, I'll be like, Alim Kamara is difficult to pronounce for some. I'll say, just remember, I'm leaning on the camera.
That's good. That's good.
Great. Yeah, you know what? Just to round it up, gonna do something random, because we're artists and we have to. Christian, you talk about love, you talk about identity, and basically, putting your stuff out. So we're gonna use that to make something spontaneous. Cool. Alim, I know you're always ready for this. Christian, we can just do a chorus around it. I'm gonna come up with a groove right here.
And it's that time again. Maybe we should go back to back just to let them know that we're in the frame and we're just freestyling right now. That means you gotta put the mic to your mouth so you can do some vocal ability. That's how. I'm just rapping, so therefore you gotta be singing. Come on.
Fire, follow me. Holy Ghost fire, fire, follow me.
Come on, let's go.
Like the day of Pentecost, fire, follow me. Like the day of Pentecost,
on me.
Taking it to church.
Yo, I run with the word like Messiah, black fire. In spirit, who can I inspire? Looking for these articles, you'll find anything goes. To subliminals, we amateurs, they pros. It's an issue when the dark fears its own light. I put it in the mic, hoping that they click like. We pose well aware these robes took a slave's bite. I'm suddenly thinking it's wrong for me to look right. I sing an old song of what white used to do, and how I'm here after hours like a broken curfew. If the soul lives on, it's on. I'm to be continued, this is part done. Come on.
Sing grace, how sweet thy sound that saved a wretch like me. I was lost, but now I'm found.
The combination.
I was blind.
It's hip hop
but now
meets modern,
I see,
meets African,
see,
meets gospel. Over to you. Over to you.
We need a group.
So we he wants you. Let's do some. Let's talk. Let's talk. I'm gonna ask you now. How do you feel that music has impacted your life? How's music impacted you?
Music is life. I have to say that it's life. Is being a musician. It's life. It's what I live. Do you understand? So when I have students, I teach, and I tell students that being a musician or going into music is you're going into a life. You can't look back. Do you understand? It's like you're in it. Do you know what I mean? So I live music, I breathe music, you know, I eat music, you know. It affects or it has an impact on everything I do. Do you understand? As my personality, when I hear words, when people speak, you know, I hear the rhythms in the word, I hear the tone, you know, the tonality of the word. So it's basically, to me, music is life, and is what is the life that we live, or you know, I live as a musician. So, and it basically has an effect on every single thing that I do. Yeah.
Isn't music a gift from God? Apparently, people keep reminding me that music is a gift.
It is a gift, yeah. Music is a gift to humanity. You know, without music, the world would be, you know, desolate, like wilderness. You know, so if you find anyone who doesn't like music, go check well. There's something missing in their life, because God has placed music on earth for a reason. You know, there's different theories how music started. You know, from pipe or wind or you know. But again, everything is orchestrated. You know, music is orchestrated. You know, the God is there. I'm gonna give you music. You know, whether you listen to classical music, jazz, hip hop, you know, it's just something that soothes your soul. You know, it gives you that thing to you know fall back on. You know, Adele did a song to make you feel my love. You know, just songs like that, they remind you of there is love, as you mentioned. So it's a gift to humanity. Yeah.
And also, it depends what name you associate with music. Some will say God, some will say spirituality, some will just say it's rhythm. So I think for everybody has their own
definition.
connection that or origin from where they feel it starts for them personally.
But it's weird though, it's the only one thing, well, one of the things that connects everybody. Like you could be having somebody that you really, really despise, but they could sing to you and then everything changes. You know, it's so powerful that we take it for granted. Personally, actually, I don't really often tell, I'm actually narcoleptic, but music's one of the things that actually did save me. And I feel that without music, I would definitely be 6 feet under. I personally believe that. So I take music very, very spiritually, seriously. And I'm very particular about what I allow into my system and what I put out into the system.
On that note, there's a folk song, you know, on that note that actually reminds me of, maybe we can use that to sign out. You may not know the song, but it goes like this.
Basically, it's a song saying we are headed home. We will not depart in pieces, but in peace, and we hope to meet back together. Well.
Thank you.
Let's keep it flowing. Let's keep it flowing. Let's keep it flowing.
Oh, digba oshe, kama fiku yarawa, kama paro yarawa. Awalo, oh digba oshe, kama fiku yarawa, kama paro yarawa. Oh right. Kama fiku yarawa, kama faro yarawa.
They're blind to the beauty you possess. I show you like a chalk shining in the darkness. And just to let you know that you can climb up, and you can climb up and therefore take what you have and rise from rest. And you can walk with the best. So therefore, you know that they will put you to the test. And we gathered here today just to show you our art form, answer your questions that you may be wondering. And if you feel it right now, send us some messages and let us know that we are the ones that have the ability. So therefore, I am now delivering my freestyle. This is straight poetry, and this is what we do when we depart and come together and put the art. I think I said that. I need to share with the world. My pearl, I hold you close for the patience you held. I write these notes. If your happiness is colored, I'll be running for gold. Woo! Chopping onions, I told you my dreams in the kitchen. Mama, all I need is your blessing. Far from the offspring you picked up from school fights. I I understand why you sheltered me from street life. Now that my little bro's in this frame, I know you need me to raise my game. Rise as a role model in this crucial lane. You taught me applied education can break the chain. I know the angels admire your soul. Mama, smile for me, I love you so. Empty palm to the heavens, you pray with hope. Have I become chosen to bring your joy when the suns grow? Bring your joy.